What is up, everybody? Louie back here again for another exciting UFC fight night, UFC Jacksonville. A fun banger of a main event at featherweight, 145 pounds. Josh Emmett taking on Ilia Topuria. Topuria, the next up-and-coming contender in the weight class. Josh Emmett trying to keep his place as that top-notch gatekeeper. Should be a lot of fun. Should be pretty violent. Both guys got something to prove here. I'm excited. Co-main event, Amanda Ribas and Maycee Barber at women's flyweight. Both trying to climb the ranks. Both have been on some decent streaks. We'll see what happens. And then you got Brendan Allen at 185 pounds. He was supposed to main event a few weeks ago against Jack Hermanson. And he's taking a different fight against Bruno Silva. Bruno Silva took that tough loss to Gerald Meerschaert, but just got a beautiful finish over Brad Tavares. So both guys got something to prove here as well. Both guys trying to get, well, Brendan Allen trying to ride his momentum. Bruno Silva trying to get back on track. Both guys trying to make a name for themselves at middleweight. And, middleweight's going to be very interesting in the upcoming months. And in the main event of the prelims at 170 pounds, Neil Magny trying to hold his position as the gatekeeper, taking on Philip Rowe. Philip Rowe trying to break into the top ranks at 170. It should be a fun fight. You got Randy Brown making his return. And a low-key banger, I think, a women's strawweight, Tabatha Ricci taking on Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson just made the cut to strawweight last fight. This is her second fight in the weight class. Tabatha Ricci, ranked number 15, I believe, 14. So Jillian Robertson trying to make a run here, and both women are deadly on the ground, so it should be a fun one. And you got 14 fights. Let's get right into it. First fight of the night at 185 pounds, men's middleweight, Cody Brundage taking on Cedric Dumas. Dumas coming off of a disappointing debut. Brundage took on Rodolfo Vieira his last fight. In the first round, he rushes with some hooks. He's able to stuff the body lock attempt. Has a strong whizzer, keeps that. But then he's able to drop him with the step in 1-2 and then some ground and pound. But then he gets taken down, the body lock toward the end, gives up his back, but he was able to survive there. Kind of short time left, less than a minute to go. Then in the second round, he pulls the guillotine off of a single leg from Vieira, but then he just gets submitted with the arm triangle from that position. It was a horrible decision to pull the guillotine. He could have used solid defense. He didn't do it. Horrible ring IQ, and it looked like he was going to get him out of there. So Brundage is a little frustrating, to be honest. And then Cedric Dumas took on Josh Fremd his last fight. This was his UFC debut. In the first round, he rocks it with a step in 1-2, lands a couple jabs in the pocket, but then he gets rocked, and he eats a counter hook off of his overhand. Then he gets taken down with a double off the fence. He eats some jabs at range. Then in the second round, he eats a jab and a right hook inside the clinch, but then he gets taken down with a whizzer kick. Just comes into him with a little too much momentum, a little too reckless. But then he's able to get the seatbelt position, get his arm across his back, and then he's able to stand up with that, and then he takes his back, but he slides off, and then he gets submitted with a sitting guillotine against the fence. Looked like he gassed more than anything, to be honest with you. Just couldn't keep up in the scrambles. Cedric is plus 155. Cody Brundage is minus 180. Going back and forth here, I don't really like the price on Cody Brundage, but I just can't trust Cedric. Period. And, in the grappling situations, I think Cedric, he's going to have a good first round. He might crack Cody a couple times, but I just think Cody's the better wrestler. I think Cody can scramble, and I think Cody can take a shot or two, and Cody can hit pretty hard too. I don't love this line, but I just think Dumas was a little bit overhyped, to be honest, and, Cody Brundage, Rodolfo Vieira is talented, and he made some bad ring IQ decisions, so I think I'm counting on him being able to fix those and fight a smarter fight, but I think he has a huge advantage in the wrestling. I'm going to go with Cody Brundage, minus 180. We'll see what happens. Second fight of the night at 125 pounds, men's flyweight, Tatsuro Taira taking on Clayton Rodriguez. TAIRA quickly rising up the ranks, the hottest prospect at flyweight. A lot of people think it's Mikhaev, but I think TAIRA has more potential, to be honest. Like, TAIRA has looked better in his fights, but he finally gets a really dangerous guy in Clayton Rodriguez. It should be fun. TAIRA took on Jesus Aguilar, his last fight. In the first round, he gets dropped with a leg kick right away, but then he's able to complete the double leg. Gets caught in a guillotine, but he's able to shake it off there. And then he's able to transition into half guard, then mount. And then he's able to pull he gets the arm, sets up the triangle from top position, and then he's able to go to his back, and then he has the triangle, and then he switches, and he's able to complete and extend that arm bar. Gets a triangle / arm bar submission. Very talented and very impressive, very slick, and he looked really good. And then Clayton Rodriguez took on Shannon Ross. His last fight, there wasn't much to this fight. In the first round, he lands an inside leg kick at range. He lands a lead left hook counter, and then he hurts him with a body kick, and then a hook flurry, and just kind of gets TKO on the feet. Pretty good stuff there. Made quick work of him. And before that, he took on CJ Vergara. In the first round, he lands some check left hooks and some body kicks as he's backing up. He gets pressed with some hooks, but he keeps his high guard, and then he's able to get the body lock trip takedown whenever he gets pressed too much. But then he eats a left hook at range, but then he's able to land a 1-2 standing at range, and then a nice overhand right. And then he lands an overhand left and an uppercut, but then he gets clipped with a couple straight shots on the return. Clayton Rodriguez plus 220, Tatsuro TAIRA minus 260. A little bit heavy of a price tag on TAIRA, but I think he's going to get this victory. Clayton Rodriguez, you know, always dangerous on the feet, but I think Tatsuro TAIRA is going to be able to take him down. You know, TAIRA, he does eat some shots from time to time. His last fight, he got dropped with a leg kick right away, so, you know, but I think he's going to be able to just, you know, he has a nice double leg. I think he'll be able to clinch him up, might be able to hit a shuck body, take his back. I just think TAIRA is going to dominate him on the ground, basically. I think Clayton might be dangerous in the first round, but I think TAIRA is going to be able to get through that fire. I'm going to go with Tatsuro TAIRA. The whole fight to go under 2.5 rounds, minus 150. TAIRA's a quick finisher. Don't mind that bet either. Third fight of the night at 145 pounds, men's featherweight, Jamal EMMERS taking on Jack Jenkins. EMMERS took on Hussein Askabov his last fight. In the first round, they both kind of trade body and leg kicks at range. He's able to catch the kick, though. He looks for a hook combination. A little too short there, but then he looks for a short hook off of his wide looping shots. And then in the second round, he gets a collar tie. He lands some nice uppercuts to the body. Then he lands some jabs at range, keeps stalking forward, slow and steady. He lands some jabs, then he level changes, and he comes up. He lands a right hook off of his spinning attack, drops him off of there. So really good counter and really good awareness. And then he's able to land a nice body kick at range when he comes up and around strong. And then in the third round, he gets a collar tie. He's able to complete the foot sweep into mount. But then he gets reversed. But then he's able to get back up, hit a snap down, go behind from the front headlock position. Gets the crucifix. He's able to use that to get into full mount, land some nice ground and pound. But then he gets reversed from that position. He gets bucked in reverse, but then he's able to get right back up. And then toward the end of the fight, he's able to just crank that Kimura. He's got short time left, doesn't got anything to lose. He's already winning. And he tries to finish the fight with the Kimura. I like seeing stuff like that. And then Jack Jenkins took on Don Shannis his last fight. In the first round, he gets the tie clinch. He lands some knees to the midsection, but then he gives up the underhook position from there. He lands some double jabs, and then he rips the body. He lands a nice leg kick combination, and then he stuffs the double leg, and then he is able to wobble him with a very powerful leg kick, but then he eats some stepping crosses in return off the leg kick. But then in the second round, he lands a counter uppercut, and he's in a hook in the pocket, just kind of standing there. And then he gets a foot sweep off the clinch attempt right into half guard. He's able to take the back. He gets one hook in, but then he gets reversed, and then he gets put in a clinch position, gives off that underhook again. But then he lands a left hook to the body, then to the head, nice combination. But then he gets taken down with a body lock trip. He eats some elbows, but he's able to shrimp out, stand up. And then he's able to complete the mat return, or gets a rear naked choke attempt around the back. Really strong way to end the round. Then in the third round, he's able to stuff the takedown attempts, and he's able to get around his back. He's got his opponent, Shannis, is just so tired at this point, and he's actually turning his gas tank up. He gets a double off of the hook, off a hook attempt. He gets into half guard, and he looks for the arm triangle. And then he lands some jabs and a front face kick whenever he gets pressed. And just looked really good in the third round. There's some moments where he would get reversed, but he was always able to get that position back, and he didn't take a ton of damage. Jack Jenkins, plus 175. Jamal EMMERS, minus 205. Yeah, looking at the tape, I don't see a reason to bet Jamal EMMERS on minus 205. I think Jack Jenkins looked good in all positions. Like I said, he gets reversed sometimes. But I think Jack Jenkins is going to make this a dirty fight. Jamal Emmers might be the cleaner striker, but Jack Jenkins has good cardio. I think Jamal Emmers might slow down a little bit. And, you know, plus 175, I'm betting on Jack Jenkins to get in there and make it dirty, land some shots on the inside, maybe take him down, maybe get around his back. Who knows? But at that price tag, I really like Jack Jenkins. Got to go with Jack on this one. Fourth fight of the night at 155 pounds, men's lightweight. This one's going to be violent. Trevor Peek making his second fight appearance in the UFC, taking on Chepe Mariscal. UFC newcomer. Should be fun. Last minute replacement. Peek took on Eric Gonzalez's last fight. In the first round, he lands some head kicks, loads up the right cross. He lands some leg kicks and a straight to the body. He presses forward with the lunge, 1-2, lands some hooks in the clinch, but then he gets body locked a couple different times, but he's able to keep the whizzer, and he's able to stand up a lot of the times. And he's able to stand up during a mount transition, so he knows when to stand up. So he's better on the ground than people give him credit for. But then he overswings and gets body locked. He goes for the Kimura into the armbar, though, on the ground. He lands a 1-2 to the body and then a left hook to the head. He rocks him with that, and then he gets dropped. He drops him with an uppercut and then a hammer fist. And then back up on the feet, he just lands a hammer fist and gets a knockout with the uppercut when his butt hits the mat. So, yeah, dude, he knocked him out with a hammer fist, basically. So, he's not the most technical guy, but he is violent, okay? And then Chepe Mariscal, he took on Guilherme Ferreira in LFA. In the first round, he catches a kick. He gets the takedown, and then he is able to land a wild hook whenever he comes back up. He lands some lunge jabs from range. He lands some step-in left hooks, but his double attempt gets stuffed after that. In the second round, he rocks him with an overhand right over top of his straight shot. He lands a side kick to the face, which hurts him, and then he lands a hook flurry. Then he kind of pushes him down from the collar tie, and then he swarms him with some short shots around the back, and he's able to take his back, and he's able to transition to mount, gets a TKO, doesn't throw a lot of power on these shots. He's punching him a lot, and the referee lets it go for a long time, but he just overwhelms him with activity, and Ferreira wasn't defending himself, but those ground and pound shots don't have power. He looked like if he didn't finish that fight there, he would have been completely gassed. Just a warning. But Chepe Mariscal, plus 100. Trevor Peek, minus 120. Coin flip fight. I'm going to go Trevor Peek here. I just think, you know, they're going to get in the center and bang, basically, and why not pick Trevor Peek, man? He showed that he can do it. He's nonstop. He just wants to knock somebody out. I think he knows he's got to knock you out in the first round. That's what he wants to do, and I just think he can get it done. Why not? Basically, even money. The whole fight to go over 1.5, though, plus 150. Things might get a little interesting. Everybody's betting the under, so might as well go for the over. But I like Trevor Peek. Street fighting. Fifth fight of the night at 125 pounds, men's flyweight. ZHUMAGULOV making his most anticipated return, taking on Josh Van. A new replacement from, he was supposed to fight last weekend, and he's getting a new last-minute replacement, basically. ZHUMAGULOV took on Charles Johnson his last fight. In the first round, he presses with some inside leg kicks, and then he lands some looping overhands. He catches the kick, lands the right cross, and he rocks him with the right cross right into the clinch. He gets the overhand, completes a double leg. Doesn't keep him down for too long, but he's able to do some work on the ground. But then he eats a head kick and a jab back up top. And then in the second round, he lands an overhand at range. He lands some lead hooks to the body. And then he eats some straights and some front kicks whenever he's throwing. His overhand's loading up a little bit. Then in the third round, he's able to hurt him with a leg kick. You can see Charles Johnson stomping his leg out to get the weight back up. But he circles along the outside. He lands some counter hooks, but then he eats some straight combinations. And, you know, honestly, I thought he won that fight. It was close. I really did think he should have won that fight, though. Josh Van took on Cleveland McLean in Fury FC his last fight. In the first round, he gets shot to the fence. He's able to defend. He's able to pummel out of that situation up against the fence. But then he pressures forward with some jabs and some leg kicks. And then he's able to land a nice right cross in the pocket. In the second round, he's able to pummel in the clinch. He completes a double leg takedown off the fence. He takes his back, gets one hook in. He lands some ground and pound, some punches around the back while he's standing. And then he lands some jabs, but then he eats a right cross. But then he's able to drop him with a knee off of a clinch attempt, lands some nice ground and pound from the Merkel position. He's able to jump on his back at the backpack, pull him down on the ground, get a rear naked choke submission. Very slick stuff there. Josh Van, plus 175. Zhalgas, minus 205. Price tag's a little high on Zhalgas, But Josh Van just doesn't have anything spectacular for me. He's only 21 years old. I don't want to count him out because of that, but I think we do got to factor it in here. ZHUMAGULOV has been around the block many times, had way more fights than this guy. And Josh Van, he's slick on the back, but I don't think he's going to be able to get there on Zhalgas. And Josh Van doesn't have that impressive of striking to me. I think Zhalgas is going to overwhelm him early on. Now, Zhalgas does tend to fall off as the rounds go on, so I wonder if Zhalgas can keep a steady pace throughout this fight. But, you know, I just don't see Josh Van getting Zhalgas' back. I think Zhalgas is going to have a better variety of strikes. I think he's going to hit him with the more powerful strikes. And I think he's due for a win. Minus 205, not terrible. I'm going to go ZHUMAGULOV here. Hopefully the new haircut helps him. Sixth fight of the night at 115 pounds, women's strawweight. I'm really looking forward to this one. Tabitha Baby Shark Ricci taking on Jillian Robertson. Jillian Robertson found her new home at 115, and she looked very good her last fight, so I'm excited to see this. Got a little bit of a step up in competition with Tabitha Ricci here. And Tabitha Ricci, she is ranked number 15 right on the money. So, yeah, this is a fight for the rankings. And Tabitha's trying to stake her claim. I think if Tabitha wins, she can get somebody ranked ahead of her next fight. So, yeah, it's a big fight for each woman. And I'm excited to see it. Both pretty decent on the ground. Pretty good grappling games, pretty good submission games, better than decent. Tabitha Ricci took on Jessica Penne her last fight in the first round. She lands a jab to the single, and then she's able to get the body lock trip takedown with an underhook. Hip toss right into full guard, lands some nice ground and pound, and then Penne kept trying to pull her down to her guard, and Tabitha had none of it. She would just stand up and kick the shit out of her legs. And then the second round, she lands some short counter hooks, and then she's able to back out of the jab range. She's able to land some front kicks off of that. She has the overhook in the clinch, hip toss off of a clinch attempt from Jessica. She goes to the front headlock, and then she's able to switch to the top armbar. Gets a submission, just nasty stuff, very slick, very quick. Front headlock to an armbar. Yeah, her transitions are deadly. Jillian Robertson took on Piera Rodriguez her last fight. I believe it was Tabitha's teammate, so that should be interesting. In the first round, she walks in a straight combination from range. But her kick gets caught, but then she kind of pulls guard. But then she grabs on this, gets a single leg and stands up with that single leg, gets the trip. Now she's in half guard. Interesting way to get a takedown, but it worked for her, I guess. I don't know if that's going to work on Tabitha. In the second round, she ducks the jab. She gets a single leg bow step finish right into side control. Transitions to mount. Lands some ground and pound and some elbows. Goes for a Kimura. Then she's able to use that to get into full mount. Lands some nice ground and pound. And then she goes for the transitions into the top armbar. Gets the submission. Both have armbar submissions our last fight. It should be interesting. Jillian Robertson plus 115. Tabitha Ricci minus 135. You know, might as well be a pick'em. I think Tabitha might be a little overpriced here, but I'm going to go with Jillian Robertson. And I think Tabitha might get the better of Jillian on the feet here. And I think Tabitha's grappling is competent enough. But I just... You know, if Jillian's the underdog, I'm going to bet Jillian. And, you know, seems like she's got some newfound confidence at a new weight class. I think she can get it done. I think it's going to be a close fight. I could easily see Tabitha just kind of neutralizing all the grappling attempts from Jillian and Tabitha getting top position. But I think Jillian Robertson's going to find a way. And at dog money, I'm willing to find out. I'm going to go up Jillian. The whole fight to go under 2.5 rounds out, plus 165. Could be a submission. I'm going to take that. But Jillian Robertson. On to the feature fight of the prelims, 155 pounds, men's lightweight. Mateusz Rebecki taking on Malik Radzhabov. Both guys kind of new, trying to make a name for themselves. Should be an exciting fight. Rebecki took on Nick Fiore his last fight. In the first round, he swings some wild overhands, and then he gets countered with some short hooks, though, but he's able to land a 1-2 at range, follows it up with a nice dig to the body. He's able to cut off the cage, land some 1-2s and some body kicks. Then he's able to get the blast double at the end of the round, finish it off strong, doesn't do a ton of ground and pound, but he does enough. In the second round, he rips the body in the clinch against the fence. He lands some right uppercuts and some left hooks, and then he gets shot to the fence off of his 1-2, and then he gets taken out the double, but he doesn't take a ton of damage down there, doesn't stay down there too long, and then he's able to land some lead left hooks, gets a blast double into full guard, enough ground and pound to stay busy. In the third round, he gets the high single into the double off of the fence, and then he stays busy enough to ride it out into full guard. So, yeah, fun fight. workmanlike, and gets a victory. Doesn't take too much damage. Like RADZHABOV took on Esteban Ribovic his last fight. In the first round, he drops him with a lead right hook right into the trip takedown. Starts it off with a bang. He lands some counter rights over top of his jab. He extended with he takes an extended shot like a little too far out, but then he's able to knee slide up, completes a double leg takedown. So that was good to see that. And then he eats some jabs when he's stalking, but then he gets a blast double, and then he gets one hook in, takes the back. In the second round, he gets rocked with a 1-2, but then he's able to complete the double leg takedown when he needs it. But then he eats some straights and a hook combination to the body and then to the head, and then gets dropped off of that. But he's okay, he survives, tough guy. Then in the third round, he lands a right hook to the body and then a left hook to the head and rocks him off of that combination. Nice slick combination. Then he's able to complete the blast double leg. He gives up his back from the Kimura defense, though, and then he gives up full mount. But then he gets right back up. He completes the double leg off the fence. He's always looking to attack, always looking to score a takedown. But then he gets rocked with the left hook at range, and he shoots a single leg out of defense. Loic Radzhabov plus 130, Mateusz Rebecki minus 150. This is another close fight. Both guys have similar skill sets, but I just think Mateusz Rebecki has a style where it's more sustainable. He kind of slows the fight down a little bit. Loic has a high pace, but he gets reversed sometimes, and he takes some damage. And I think Mateusz Rebecki is going to be able to slow this fight down, get the takedowns. When he gets the takedowns, I think he's going to be able to ride him out a little longer. Both guys dangerous, though. Both guys, like I said, both guys decent wrestlers. But, you know, maybe you should just kind of go with the underdog. But just watch the tape. I think as the fight goes on, I think Rebecki is going to be able to take more real estate in this fight. I think he's going to be able to get the takedowns. He's going to land the smarter strikes, the better play strikes, and he's going to be a little more economical, I think. I'm going to go with Mateusz Rebecki minus 150, and we'll see what happens. Should be fun. Co-main event of the prelims at 170 pounds, men's welterweight. This is a fun one here. Randy Brown taking on Wellington Turman. Wellington Brown coming off a tough loss against Jack Della Maddalena. He's still trying to get into the rankings, though. Wellington Turman, he's coming down from 185, so this should be interesting. Hopefully, he's looking to get a fresh start here. We'll see. Randy Brown took on Jack Della Maddalena his last fight. In the first round, he lands some soft jabs along the outside. Doesn't put a ton of sting on him. Barely touches him. But then he lands some double jabs, straight right to the body. But then he gets pressed and he gets dropped with the right hook. Gives up his back. Gives up the rear naked choke. Gets submitted by Jack Della Maddalena. So, not a great outing from him, to be honest. But, you know, Randy was looking okay with his jabs and staying on the outside for a little. But before that, he took on Francisco Trinaldo. In the first round, he lands some double jabs. They're a little too short. He's able to follow up with a body kick. He touches him with some jabs at range. But then he drops him with a straight right. He gets pressed with some straights, and then he gets clinched. But he's able to work his way out of there. But then he gets mat returned off of a jump knee. He's able to shake him off. And then he goes to a front headlock. Goes for a Darce attempt, I believe. So, pretty interesting round. He's got some submissions in his arsenal, but, you know, obviously his wrestling is the weakness. Wellington Turman took on Andre Petrosky his last fight at 185. In the first round, he lands a straight right at range and then a head kick, but then he gets rocked with a counter right. But then he lands some leg kicks and some jabs, and he's able to slip the hooks, but then he eats an overhand over top of his slide-in jab, and then he gets taken down with a single leg, and he gives up his back. Then in the second round, he pulls a guillotine off of a single leg. Doesn't get it, so not the best move. But Randy Brown doesn't really wrestle. But then he's able to get the guillotine from the top, and he pushes him down, and then he gets on top from there, and then he stays around his back standing, hits a couple mat returns, so pretty decent control. But then he gets hip tossed there for that position, but, you know, had a good moment on top there. Then in the third round, he gets blast doubled, he gives up his back, and he is just completely exhausted, and he didn't really put up much of a fight this round. So it is what it is. But Andre Petrosky's huge for what it's worth. Wellington Turman plus 195, Randy Brown minus 230. I do not like guys going down in weight, especially 85 to 70, but you know what? Wellington Turman did kind of look small, and Wellington Turman's chin's not great. 2 strikes against him, but I think in this case, Wellington Turman has a grapple-heavy game plan, and I think, you know, he's going to be the bigger guy, and I think if he gets his hands on Randy Brown in the clinches, or if he gets in on a single leg, maybe he can land some hooks on the inside or something. I think he's going to be able to wear on Randy Brown, and Randy Brown just always seems to fight down to the level of his opponent, it seems like. like with Trinaldo. Like, I don't even know if he even won that fight. It was pretty close in my opinion. And, you know, his weakness is the grappling. So, and you're getting big money on Wellington Turman, plus 195. I'm going to go with Wellington Turman, man. Because it seems more like if you're going to 85 to 70, that's kind of like a lifestyle change. So, I think it can work, you know. We'll see. It might be a stupid pick, but I just don't want to bet Randy Brown at minus 230, you know. Yeah. I just think Wellington Turman's going to be more aggressive. I think he's going to win the grappling spots. I think maybe there's a possibility for a submission. I'm going to go Wellington Turman plus 195, submission plus 600. Should be a fun fight. Roll the dice. Main event of the prelims at 170 pounds, men's welterweight. Neil Magny taking on Philip Rowe. Neil, the Gazelle Magny, forget his other nickname. I'm just trying to keep his position as that gatekeeper. And Philip Rowe, he's the next up-and-comer. He's trying to get past the gate, and Neil Magny is going to do his job. So, Neil Magny right now sitting at number 11. So, this is a pretty big fight for Philip Rowe. I thought Neil Magny was a little lower than that, but, yeah. Neil Magny, very tough opponent. Neil Magny, the Haitian sensation. That's it. Okay, Neil Magny took on Daniel Rodriguez his last fight. In the first round, he eats some hooks to the body, but then he's able to pummel, and he lands a couple straight shots, lands some 1-2s at range off of Daniel's leg kicks. He eats a hook, but then he's able to pull the overhook, clinch, and then when he'll like kind of pull him to the fence and control his head. And, you know, that's Neil Magny's thing, and it doesn't look like much, but, you know, he's tiring them out working their head like that, and, you know, he's still controlling them. Even if he's pulling them into him, he's making them work. And he hits a shuck by, gets a mat return, and then he gets one leg in toward the end there. Good way to end the first round. Then in the second round, he lands some head kicks and he eats some straights along the fence, but he's able to get off the fence with a blitz though. But then he eats some jabs and he gets clinched. He's able to get the underhook though. Hits a pass by again, gets around the back to end the round. Then in the third round, a little rough for him. He gets rocked with some straights on the fence, pulls guard, but then he lands an elbow. He's able to get back to his feet, lands an elbow, and the body lock, hits another pass by, takes his back, gets one hook in. He's a little too high, but then he's able to stand up, and then he just pulls that Darce choke, gets it all the way to the mat, gets on a hip, and gets a submission. And Daniel Rodriguez was just completely exhausted, and Neil Magny's greatest gift, arguably, is his cardio, and he got that done. Neil Magny never finishes anybody. He finished Daniel Rodriguez. That's got to say something. And Philip Rowe, he took on Nico Price's last fight. In the first round, he eats some leg kicks and he backs out of the range of the crosses. He lands a jump knee and then some jabs, but then he gets cut off on the cage, eats a hook or two. But then he's able to rock him back with a 1-2 off of his hook. Then he lands a couple slap left hooks and then followed with the straight right down the pipe. Nice combo. In the second round, he lands a 1-2 down the middle, but then he eats some hooks to the body inside the pocket. But then he's able to complete the blast double leg. He lands an uppercut to the body and then a right cross to the face. And then he's able goes for the standing guillotine, but he's able to use that and he's able to take his back to ride out the second round. Looks good for the judges. In the third round, he gets rocked with an overhand and then some tie knees and he eats a flurry. Up against the fence, and then he gets dropped with an uppercut, eats some nasty ground and pound in half guard. Then he's able to use that tight waist, gets his arm all the way over to the other end of his hip. He's able to use that to stand up, so he's got a lot of heart in him, and he's got some good wherewithal whenever he's getting hurt. And then he's able to land a right cross in the collar tie, and then he lands some right crosses in a flurry up against the fence, and then he gets a TKO. So, yeah. He was losing down bad, and he came down. He finished Nico Price, and Nico Price is not an easy guy to finish. In my opinion, Nico Price just kind of gassed himself out. Philip Rowe was taking a beating there, but that's how the cookie crumbles. Phil Rowe plus 145, Neil Magny minus 170. I'm gonna go with Neil Magny. You gotta have a really good reason to beat Neil Magny. Gilbert Burns, yeah, ran right through him, but he's Gilbert Burns. Philip Rowe, you know. Is Philip Rowe going to be the next up-and-coming contender at welterweight? I really don't think so. That would be Ian Gary. Neil Magny, he's going to beat Phil Rowe. It might be close. It might not be close. I just think Neil Magny is going to be able to clinch him up. Phil Rowe is not going to be able to get his shots off like he wants to. Neil Magny's going to be able to pepper him with some jabs, maybe bust up his nose a little bit. And then, kind of like the D-Rod fight, he's going to be able to shuck by, drag him down to the ground, take his back for the end of the rounds, win on the scorecards. Pretty simple. The price tag's not too bad. I'm going to go with Neil Magny. First fight on the main card at 185 pounds, men's middleweight. Brendan All-In Allen at number 13, taking on Bruno Silva. Brendan was supposed to fight Jack Hermanson. Was going to move up in the rankings. That fight fell through. Bruno Silva stepping up. Bruno Silva not ranked. Still a fun banger. And Brendan Allen could use another fight just to kind of solidify himself. So, should be fun. Brendan Allen took on Andre Muniz his last fight. In the first round, he eats a jab, but then he rocks him right back with a straight right. And then he eats a hook combination at range and a step-in right cross, but he's able to stuff the single leg attempt on the fence. In the second round, he gets clipped with some straights whenever they both kind of throw, kind of load up, but then he's able to stuff the double leg with an overhook. He's able to complete the foot sweep, gets on top of him, scores off of Andre Muniz's takedown attempt. Really nice stuff, and just kind of rides it out, and hard-fought victory for that round. Then in the third round, he eats a step-in, 1-2, though, and he eats some counter hooks off of a straight, though, but then he's able to land a step-in jab. He lands a cross, but then he eats a counter shot from Andre, but then he's able to catch the kick, gets a single leg lift, big takedown right into side control, able to take back mount, gets that rear naked choke, just works it. There's short time left, and he's able to get that submission. Beautiful, beautiful victory. Yeah, this fight was supposed to be the co-main event. It got slotted into the main event, and Brendan Allen really showed out. He really surprised a lot of people, including myself. And then Bruno Silva, he took on Brad Tavares his last fight. Not too much on that fight, and Brad Tavares not really a grappler, gets a big knockout, good. But then before that, he did not look good at all. He took on Gerald Mearshart. In the first round, he lands some crosses and some counter overhands, he throws them, but they're a little too short. Then he lands a counter straight left, but then he gets taken out with the double leg toward the end. In the second round, he chases him with some hooks, and then he gets clinched off of those, just kind of overthrows. But then he misses his wide hook attempts, and then he lands a lead overhand at range, though. But then he walks off, and he gets eats some body kicks and some jabs. And then in the third round, he eats a knee in the clinch, and then he gets dropped with the hook on the separation. And then he gets caught up with the guillotine whenever he's hurt and gets submitted by GM3. And, yeah, not a great performance from him, honestly. And Bruno Silva's plus 160. Brendan Allen is minus 190. You know, everybody's making such a big deal about him, Bruno Silva, going the distance with Alex Pereira. What about him getting submitted by Gerald Mearshart? You know, now the Brad Tavares knockout was impressive, but I just don't know, man. Too many unanswered questions for me. Brendan Allen is on a roll. Yes, Brendan Allen had his ups and downs. Yes, it hasn't been too long since he's got knocked out by Chris Curtis. Brendan Allen has questionable IQ at times. Brendan Allen tries to beat guys at their own game at times. Is Brendan Allen going to stand and trade with Bruno Silva? I don't know. If he does, then I deserve to lose my money. But I'm going to bank on that Brendan Allen's matured, and he's going to use his wrestling with Bruno Silva. He's going to land counter strikes when he can. Price tag's a little steep, but dude, everybody was scared of Andre Muniz, and Brendan Allen submitted that guy, beat him at his own game. So let's just hope he doesn't try to beat Bruno Silva at his own game, but maybe he can. Who knows? I'm going to go with Brendan Allen here. I think he utilizes his grappling, and I think he just plays it smart. I think he avoids the power shots of Bruno Silva. Brendan Allen, baby. I'm all in on this one. And Brendan Allen by sub, plus 175. Not a terrible play. Second fight of the night, or on the fade card at 145 pounds, men's featherweight. David ONAMA finally making his return, taking on Gabriel Santos. Both guys just trying to make a name for himself in this weight class, basically. David ONAMA was a big prospect. Then he got beat up by Nate Landwehr. Now he's trying to regain his footing. ONAMA took on Landwehr his last fight in the first round. He looks for some jabs. He lands some body kicks and crosses when he steps in. But then he drops Nate Landwehr with the step-in straight right, and then he drops him with the step-in overhand right, and he's able to take his back, lands some nice ground and pound, but then he gets reversed. He tries to take his back. He should have been going for a naked choke, and he just tries to punch him from there. Not the best position to really hurt somebody. But then he lands a big overhand, but then he gets collar tied, eats some knees and elbows, starts slowing down. Then at the end of the first round, then in the second round, he gets rocked with some crosses and some jabs standing at range. He gets taken down with the body lock trip, and he gives up his back. He eats some knees in the clinch. He gets put in a front choke, and he tries to hit a peek out, tries to grab a leg, but then he gets pancaked. And then he keeps getting clinched and taken down, back on the feet. Nate Landwehr is toying with him at this point, honestly. He eats a ton of ground and pound. Then in the third round, he just kind of gets ragdolled. He eats some he eats some tie clinch knees to the body, but then he's able to rock Nate Landwehr with the right cross at range, and he lands some hooks on the fence, and then he lands a lunge right hand, and he lands a nice splits at the end there, and kind of hurts Nate Landwehr, but Nate Landwehr again was toying with him, but that's Nate Landwehr's fault, you know, so. Okay, and then Gabriel Santos, he took on Lerone Murphy his last fight. In the first round, he lands a double off of a kick, but then he gets reversed in the body lock. He tries to go for the armbar, decent attempt there, but then he lands a body kick at range, but then he eats some straight rights. He lands some wild hooks and a jump knee into the double leg. But then he's able to complete that double leg, but then he lands a straight left at range, so decent first round for him. And then in the second round, he eats some right crosses, and then he's able to get the tie clinch. He's able to land some knees, but then he gets taken down with the body lock up against the fence. But then he drops him with the leg kick, a nasty leg kick, and then he gets to the snatch single, and he's able to take the back, gets the body triangle, goes for an armbar. Then in the third round, he eats a 1-2 at range, but then he's able to land a body kick to the single on the fence, and then he's able to run the pipe, but he's not able to quite get his back there. But then back on the feet, he eats some crosses off of his leg kicks, but then he lands a jab, and he's able to complete the double leg off the fence. So pretty good performance from him. And Lerone Murphy, pretty respected guy in that weight class. So pretty good performance from Gabriel, to be honest. But, you know, Lerone Murphy gets a decision, but, you know, I thought Santos looked really good. And you take a look at Santos' record real quick. That was his first fight in UFC. He had experiences in the third round, has a ton of third-round fights, ton of third-round victories, so he can go the distance. David ONAMA, his cardio just not that great. David ONAMA is plus 185, and Gabriel Santos minus 215. A little tough, to be honest. But, I mean, part of me wants to take that plus money on David ONAMA, but I just don't know if he has it. And I think he might have took a beating against Nate Landwehr. And, you know, what kind of grappling ability does David ONAMA have? He can grapple, but, you know, Gabriel Santos, you know, he's going to throw up a submission attempt. I don't think David ONAMA is going to take down Gabriel Santos. I just don't like this line on Santos, to be honest. But Santos really impressed me against Lerone Murphy. David ONAMA, if his best chance is to knock out Santos. If he doesn't knock him out in the first round, he's got to be dog tired later on in the fight. I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos. I'm just going to stick with who I think is the better fighter over the 3 rounds, like the Pat Sabatini fight. I bet against him, bet the underdog. So this week, I'm just going to go with the guy with the better grappling and who can go 3 rounds. I'm going to go with Gabriel Santos minus 215, but we'll see, though. If David ONAMA knocks him out, can't be surprised, and, you know, I got nobody to blame but myself. Feature fight of the main card at 265 pounds, men's heavyweight. Austin Lane making his UFC debut, taking on Justin the Badman TAFA. You got a fun slot fest at the heavyweight, but Justin TAFA really could be something if he gets a big knockout here. So we'll see. And Austin Lane, this is his big opportunity. So maybe there's some stakes here finally for heavyweights. Austin Lane took on Richard Jacoby his last fight, Dana White Contender Series. In the first round, he eats a 1-2 off of his knee. But then he lands a body kick in the pocket, lands a step and overhand. But then he gets taken out with the body lock in the mount. He's able to buck him off though and reverse him. Gets full guard, postures up, rains down some nasty ground and pound. And he just stands over him, goes wild with the hammer fists, knocks him out with some hammer fists. I mean, come on. Just classic heavyweight ground and pound. You love to see it. Justin TAFA took on Parker Porter his last fight. In the first round, he lands a front kick and then an overhand left, but then he eats a 1-2 counter and a leg kick. But then he lands some uppercuts in the clinch, steps back, waits for Parker to rush in face first, lands that left cross, gets a massive knockout. Who would have thought that would happen, man? Parker Porter is very tough. Before that, he took on Harry Hunsucker in the first round. He drops him with an overhand left off of his leg kick. Snaps from the front head, goes behind him, and then he's able to defend the Kimura attempt, though. Gets on top of him, does a little bit of work on top, gets back on the feet. He eats overhand at range, but then he's able to self a takedown attempt, head kick knockout. Doesn't get any more brutal than Justin TAFA kicking you in the head. So, yeah, 2 first-round knockouts. This dude is on a high. Justin TAFA minus 190. Austin Lane plus 160. I'm going to go with Justin TAFA. I know it's heavyweights, but Justin TAFA's got more UFC experience. Austin Lane, I mean, you know, he got a takedown, and landed some hammer fists. It doesn't tell me a lot. He's strong. He's powerful. What's he look like in the second round? Is he going to be able to take Justin TAFA down? I don't think so. Justin TAFA's huge. He knows how to defend a takedown at least. And Justin TAFA might kick him in the head. I'm going to go with him. The whole fight to go over 1.5 rounds, plus 175. But I got Justin TAFA on this one. Co-main event of the evening at 125 pounds. Women's flyweight. Amanda Ribas, number 9, taking on Macy Barber, number 11. Big matchup here. Both kind of at a crossroads of their career. They need this win to get up towards that upper echelon. And, Macy Barber, the young prospect, I think she barely squeaked by her last fight. So let's see if she can put it together. And Amanda Ribas, let's see if she can finally find a home at flyweight and move up the ranks and prove to everybody that she deserves to be among the elite. Amanda Ribas took on Viviane Arujau her last fight. In the first round, she lands a jab to a double, escapes the guillotine. She gets a leg Turk trying to get into half guard. And then she's back on the feet. She lands some jabs, but she's a counter left hook, and she gets rocked with a straight right. Then in the second round, she drops her with the straight right whenever she's coming towards her, right into half guard, lands some nasty elbows, works to kind of threatens the arm triangle a little bit, and then she takes the back, gets one hook in. Very dominant round, a 10-8 if I've ever seen one. Arujau literally did nothing the whole round. Could not do anything. Then in the third round, she lands a 1-2, followed up with a leg kick. She kind of circles on the outside, pumps the jabs. She lands a front kick to the body, and then a 1-2. And then she lands a spinning back kick to the body, and then she lands a head kick, followed by a right cross. And then she just kind of grabs the knee pick off a leg, and then she's able to defend the armbar, lands some nasty ground and pound to end the fight. Beautiful performance. And Arujau was on a hot streak, so very good. Macy Barber took on Andrea Lee her last fight. In the first round, she hits a counter left off of her looping overhand, and then she gets taken out of the body lock trip right into side control. But then she's able to trap her arm with her legs and then lands a couple of nasty elbows. Kind of slick there. Didn't really know what I was seeing, but she got some elbows in there. And then she's able to reverse during the mount transition, and then she's able to stand right back up, and then she lands a couple of nasty step-in elbows. And this was a pretty back-and-forth fight. In the second round, she lands some body kicks at range. She gets a double leg, can't hold her there very long. But then she lands some step-in overhands and some crosses, circles along the outside, and then she lands a step-in left hook, and then a flurry of hooks. But then she gets taken out with a single leg, just gets a little too overzealous and oversteps. And then in the third round, she lands some straights and some body kicks, but then she gets taken out with the body lock, and she gives up her back, but then she's able to swim out of there. And, she has a sense of urgency the whole third round, especially. And then she gets a double leg off of a knee from Andrea Lee. She can't hold her down, though, and then she gets taken down off of a body lock trip there for the rest of the round. Pretty close fight, pretty competitive. I would have given it to Andrea Lee, but that's fighting, Macy Barber, plus 160. Amanda Ribas, minus 190. It's a tough one, dude. I think Amanda Ribas is going to land the cleaner shots, but I think Macy Barber is going to be able to rush her. And if Macy Barber can turn it on like she did in the third round for just another round, either the first or the second, turn it on like that third round against Andrea Lee, I think she can swarm her, land some big shots. She's got to watch getting taken down. But I think Macy Barber, she's been working on her wrestling defense, and she just got to work on overstepping her bounds so much. She just can't let Amanda Ribas get her back, which Amanda Ribas may very well do. But at the price tag, plus 160, I kind of like Macy Barber here. And for whatever reason, this fight and the Miranda Maverick fight, she wins those close split decisions for whatever reason. So she's got that going for her. I think it's going to be a back and forth brawl. I think Barber's competent enough in the grappling. Hopefully she can stand up if Amanda takes her down. But I just like Macy. She's good at making it a dogfight. It's just a matter of if she brings that intensity for 2 out of 3 rounds. And for plus 160, I'm going to bet she does. But it's going to be a fun fight. It's going to be a scrap. I'm excited. I'm going to go plus 160, Macy Barber for Team Alpha Male. The main event of the evening at 145 pounds, men's featherweight, Josh Emmett, number 5, taking on number 9, Ilya El Matador Topuria. Should be a fun banger. This is a big spot for Topuria here. They want him to win. They want him to fight Volkanovski next. They want a big knockout from him. Josh Emmett had his shot with the interim title. Had his moments against Yair Rodriguez, but got submitted. So, this is kind of like a last stand for Josh Emmett. He's kind of the gatekeeper here. And, if he wants to stay in his top 5, he's got to beat Ilya Topuria. And if not, you know, he's going to move down in rankings and, you know, he'll still be a gatekeeper for the top 10. But, you know, this is kind of his last shot at being elite. And this is Ilia Topuria's time to beat Josh Emmett and get a title shot. So, very exciting stuff. Both guys have a lot of power. Both guys come to bring it every fight. Very exciting. It's going to be violent. Josh Emmett took on Yair Rodriguez his last fight for the interim title. In the first round, he gets rocked with a body kick, but then he lands a step-in overhand right, but then he eats a couple straight shots in return. He eats a head kick, but then he's able to land an overhand. It kind of pushes him down. He rocks him, and then he gets like a collar tie and kind of pushes him down. He lands some ground and pound around the back. Pretty big shots to end that first round. But then in the second round, he lands a 1-2, but then he eats a counter hook, and then he eats a body kick. Gets on the single, loses it though, keeps eating some punches and leg kicks on it, body kicks on his way in. He eats some body kicks and some hooks. He gets a single to the fence though, but he's just taking more damage when he's on that leg. Then he's loading up and he misses some overhands. Then he gets rocked with a step-in elbow from Yair. But then he eats a jump knee and he's able to get the single leg. Completes that takedown, but then he gets caught in a triangle eventually and just gets submitted. And Emmett just had trouble landing ground and pound because Topuria put his hips up. He extended his hips away from Josh Emmett, so he had trouble getting leverage to throw punches. I remember his corner was telling him to hit him in the midsection, but he just couldn't get it. And, you know, Yair was throwing those elbows on the ground as well, staying busy. And, you know, Josh Emmett just seemed like a little too concerned throwing those overhands, or he was trying to get a takedown. Just had trouble closing a distance, but, you know, for what it's worth, Josh Emmett hurt him, and Josh Emmett can hurt anybody. Ilia Topuria took on Bryce Mitchell his last fight. In the first round, he lands an overhand left, and then a hook off of Bryce's front kick. He lands across that range, and then some hooks whenever he gets pressed. He's able to stuff the single leg attempt on the fence, but then he eats a 1-2, and then he gets taken down with the single toward the end of the round. Doesn't take much damage, though, and he stays calm on the ground, doesn't get put in a submission situation, so he did okay there. In the second round, he's able to stuff the shots and squares up with Bryce Mitchell, and then he misses the hook, and then he eats a 1-2 head kick in return, but he's able to keep moving, and it doesn't really land flush on him, and he can take a decent shot. But then he drops him with an uppercut and then a right hook, and then he lands some nasty ground and pound from around the back. Then he's able to stuff another takedown attempt, lands an uppercut, pancakes him, hits that over under a hip toss whenever Mitchell's on his knees, and then just gets that arm triangle submission. He starts whenever Mitchell's kind of trying to stand up on his knees, gets an arm triangle, throws him on his back, and just cranks that thing, man. It was nasty and it was violent. You know, he got touched up a couple times, but, you know, Topuria, he really turned it on in the second round. He knows how to pace himself. Ilia Topuria minus 345, Josh Emmett plus 285. Yeah, pretty tough line here. I mean, Topuria is the more skilled fighter, the better, the more well-rounded fighter. He's got more potential. But Josh Emmett, I mean, you really want to count him out like that? Because Ilia Topuria, he got dropped by Jai Herbert. I know it was up a weight class, but still. Josh Emmett can crack. Josh Emmett cracked Yair Rodriguez, you know? So... And, you know, remember last year around this time, Josh Emmett, he got a split decision victory over Calvin Kattar. Doesn't matter if you agree with it or not. He got that victory, man. Josh Emmett can win fights. That's all I'm saying. But realistically, I think the fight's going to go kind of how Yair and Emmett went. I think Topuria is going to be able to, he's going to be faster. He's going to land more shots. Emmett might crack him a couple times, but I think Topuria's takedown defense is decent enough. It's good enough. And, you know, I think he might be able to get on top or maybe take Emmett's back or something like that. But Emmett might crack him a couple times. And just who really knows, dude? So, I'm going to pick Ilia Topuria, but I'm going to bet on Josh Emmett. I'm going to put I would say put your money on Josh Emmett. My official pick is Ilia Topuria. If you want to pick Ilia Topuria, KO, plus 140. It's that or sub. It's both plus 140, so I don't know what to pick. But maybe go by KO. I just got a feeling he'll get a knockout. Because submission sounds too easy, you know. But either one of those. But I'm going to go with Ilia Topuria. But regardless, it's going to be a great fight. Thanks, everybody. Thanks for riding with me. Appreciate it. Like, share, subscribe. Instagram, Twitter, Snapchat, all that stuff. I would appreciate it. Leave a comment. Let me know what you're thinking. If you got Any better suggestions, I'm always down to listen to them. Let's see some upsets, let's see some violence, and let's see some profits. Good luck, everyone.